Challah. It's a delicious egg bread, good for the Jewish holidays or for any time. Hi, I'm Janet Treuhaft of Johnny-Sells.com. Today we're going to make some delicious challah for you. It's a yeast-based bread, and the first thing we do is get the yeast to start rising. We're going to take 3 ingredients just to get going. We have 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast, 2 teaspoons of sugar, and about 1/4 cup of room temperature or slightly warm water. Mix it together and let this sit for about 5 to 10 minutes and let the yeast have a chance to activate and start poofing up. We've waited about 5 minutes and the yeast, look at how nice that rises. It all works together. So we're going to put the yeast down. We're going to take 4 1/2 cups of flour. I always like working with a nice wooden bowl. Kind of mix that up. Take 2 teaspoons of salt. Mix it in nicely with your salt, with your flour, and move it around. Then it asks you to make a little well in the center. You start off with 2 tablespoons of oil. You can use vegetable oil or olive oil. Both work great. Then you take 2 eggs, 2 regular eggs. Add that. Eggs, 1 egg. Put 2 eggs in. And you take 1 cup of warm water, once again room temperature water, and we're going to take our yeast, which has risen nicely, dump this in, put all this together, and we're going to mix it together. This is part of the fun part of it. It brings you back to your childhood or any time where it's you're kind of making a mess, but it's kind of contained because it's all right here in your bowl. So you mix it really good. You can tell when it's mixed because it will not stick to your finger so much, but it should be nice and elastic from the yeast. So we're going to mix this. We also keep a little extra flour nearby. If it's too moist, you add a little flour to it. If it's too dry, you can always put a little bit more water in. See, as it gets done, I'm done. I mix this together. Get this all, make a ball. All in here. Get this on my fingers. It's nice and elastic. It's a good ball. You put it here. Then I take a last little bit of oil I have and you put it on top just to keep it moist. And I'm going to put a towel on it. We'll let it rise about an hour until it's doubled in size. Then we'll come back and go on to the next step. So we have started our challah. We mixed all the ingredients together. We let it rise for an hour and it got nice and fluffy. So now the next step is we're going to punch it down. Bring that camera in and watch me punch it. Boom! Woo! It all deflates, which is what it's supposed to do. It means the yeast is working. We punch it down. I'm going to add just a little bit of flour to keep it from sticking, which it's not really, but it's just perfect. And it's flexible and it's nice. And now double over itself. We're going to put it back here, cover it up, and let it rise again. Now we've waited about an hour and the dough rose again and it looks great. So what we're going to do, we're actually going to make 2 loaves of bread because sometimes it's fun. So anyways, we're going to punch it down and then we're going to get this into a ball. And what we'll do is right off the bat, I'm going to put some flour on the surface so it doesn't stick to the countertop. And we are going to just break it in half. But see how nice and sticky it is? It's wonderful. So we take our 1/2 and our 1/2 we are going to divide into thirds. Challah is known for its braided appearance, and that's what we're going to do to this. So let's just, the great thing, we're going to roughly take Here's 3 pieces. They don't look exactly equal, but that's totally fine. You massage it, you rub it, and you try to make these pieces longer without ripping them again. So you make these longer, and it's like hair braiding, it's like yarn braiding. It's the simplest technique, and it's a very popular thing, kind of bread, and people always love it because not only does it taste good, but it looks very cool. It looks a lot more complicated than it really is. Okay, these aren't super long, but this is going to be enough to get us going. So we have 3 pieces. They're relatively equal length, not really, but close enough. You take your pan, and we're going to first put the 1 piece down, put another piece on the side, kind of wrap the end, and the 3rd piece. So then what you do in braiding, I probably should have done this a different direction, but that's okay. Braiding, you take the top one over the middle one, the bottom one over the middle one. Just keep doing the top one over the middle, top over the middle, top over the middle, top over the middle. Seal the bottoms. You have this beautiful little braided bread, and now it gets the last rise, and then we're going to add our poppy seeds and bake it. Okay, we've waited about an hour. Let's see how the bread looks. Ooh, hasn't it puffed up nicely? One last step, then we put it in the oven. We're going to take an egg, crack open the egg, save your white over here, and take the egg yolk. I always like to add a little water to it. Smush up the egg yolk really good, and it gives us a nice crust, a nice brown crust. Then you're going to put it on our 2 loaves of bread. The nice thing about this is we waited about an hour, but there is no set time limit for bread rising. Sometimes it depends on what the temperature is in your house. Sometimes it depends on if you get a phone call or get distracted by the computer. But the nice thing is you're always going to have fluffy bread, and it really isn't going to matter a lot. So we are going to put this little, they call it egg wash. It'll give it a nice amount of color. We have enough. Put it on both. And again, you don't have to cover every single inch. It's just, this is going to make it look pretty. And we're going to do this. Then you can have it plain if you want. We like poppy seeds in our house, so we are going to take some poppy seeds. You can take whatever brand you want. I thought this had the sprinkler thing in it. I'm going to put it in my hand because it doesn't have the sprinkle thing left on top. And you just put a bunch of poppy seeds on there. And you put a bunch of poppy seeds here. And how's that? Looks spectacular. So then, oh, did I say what else you can put on it? You can do plain poppy seeds or sesame. And now we're going to put it in the oven for about 50 minutes. And it is a little bit more important how long you put it in the oven than how long you let it rise. So you put it in about 50 minutes, and we'll come back and see how it looks. We've waited about 50 minutes. Let's see how the bread looks. Wonderful. I'm going to put it here. It looks good, but the important thing is, how does it taste? Let's take, well, we'll take this one, take it here. Sometimes you can let it cool for a bit, but we're too impatient, so we're going to cut in. Oh, I forgot to say, one of the tests is you take your bread off and hit the bottom with your finger. It should sound nice, dry, and hollow. Hollow, holla. Ha, ha, ha. Anyways, here's our bread. I'm going to get a knife, put some butter on it. And enjoy. And that's how you make holiday challah. One to eat, one to share.